Okay, it's felt like a very long time since I've logged in on this account. Time to go ahead and get Act 2 started. Our road to God Wars begins today. And apparently it's been 260 days since I have logged in, but I've added more membership on the account and I am ready to begin the grind to getting back to or going to God Wars for the first time. The first thing that we'll need to do is teleport back to our area. So I'll do that now. It looks like the last thing I was doing on the account was raking, and I must have hit a maze random event, and that looks to be the last thing that I've done. So let's go ahead and teleport back in, and then we can go over my goals and what I hope to accomplish here in Act 2. Before hopping into Act 2, let's recap what happened in Act 1. So Act 1 was obtaining all 4 of the Dagonoth rings. We picked up 4 Berserker rings and then 1 of each of the rest of the rings, with the 3 Dragon Axes, 1 Circle, and 2 Mud Battle Staffs. Kill counts on the screen there, so all of them came relatively easily. I think the Warrior ring gave me the most trouble. A longer term goal on the account is to passively try and obtain one of the pets, probably Rex, but we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so before I make it to God Wars, there are a couple things I need to complete and a couple skills I'll need to train prior to that. Based on the stats here, it is not even close enough to kill Bandos or Zami, which is going to be the first ones I try, and then I can slowly work towards Sarah and Armadillo. That's a long way away though, and I need to complete the following things before I even try and go to God Wars. So the first step of completing this is to unlock the remaining Lunar Spellbook by completing Dream Mentor. So Dream Mentor does require Edgar's Ruse, which requires Troll Stronghold, which requires Death Plateau. But I was planning on doing some of these troll quests anyway because you do need to complete them to unlock the God Wars dungeon itself. So I'll go ahead and finish up those 4 quests outlined, and that will unlock the remainder of the Lunar Spellbook. The most important one, or the most important spells on there, are going to be the Hunter Kit spell, Super Glass Make, and then also Plank Make. Once Dream Mentor is completed, I will then use the Hunter Kit spell to get the initial hunter supplies needed to begin leveling Hunter from level 1, which I can use a bird snare in the Polar Hunter area to catch birds and begin leveling up Hunter. So this will be the second step of my 4-step plan of reaching God Wars. Once I begin leveling up my Hunter, I want to get my Hunter up to level 83 at the minimum, and possibly 89 if I think I can get lucky enough with lucky implings. The reason I don't need to go to 99 with Hunter to get lucky implings is because there is a wheat field in Miscellanea that will take me to Puro Puro, so I can go ahead and get the magic impling net and then the jars as well by just going into that area once I have the Hunter requirement to get all of those supplies. So once I hit level 83 Hunter, my goal is going to be just all upgrades: Amulet of Glory, the Dragon Dagger, Poison, the Dragon Longsword, Dragon Stones for a combat bracelet, and then just a lot of bones, Dragon Bones, Baby Dragon Bones for prayer, which I will then use to level up my construction so I can get better XP rates at my altar. A couple of other supplies I can pick up from Implings will be a Rune Scimitar from Ninja Implings, which will be my best in slot weapon until I reach 83 Hunter, but I'll most likely just go straight there, so it won't be as important, but it will be helpful if I do take a break for Hunter. And then Black Dragon Hide, and then just overall, anything really above Magpie will just give me a bunch of alchables that I will then use for construction, because I can then use the Plank Make spell. So once I get all of my supplies from Hunter, all of the outlined weapons and armor that I mentioned, I will then move on to step 3 of the plan, and step 3 of the plan is very simple. Just get level 74 crafting for a combat bracelet. Combat bracelet will be my best in slot glove slot for God Wars dungeon, and I'll need a lot of seaweed and sand for that. Luckily, with the Super Glass Make spell, the amount of supplies I'll need is going to be a lot less than if I were to just make the soda ash or the molten glass myself. So I will get into those numbers once we do reach that step. It's going to be quite the grind from 61, but hopefully it's not too bad. And once I get the combat bracelet, that will complete step 3, and we will move on to step 4 of my overall plan, which is the last step before going to God Wars, and that's going to be just training my combat stats. The minimum stats I'll look for before even trying God Wars is going to be 80 attack, 85 strength, 80 defense, and then 56 plus prayer. So I know 80 attack and 80 defense are pretty low for trying God Wars, so I will most likely be training those higher, but that's going to be the minimum that I'm looking for. But once I hit 80 attack and defense, I'll just prioritize strength until I am ready to go for those God Wars bosses. The level 56 prayer wasn't anything special. It was just that I think at level 56 you earn one more prayer point per dose of prayer potion that you drink. So I think that's just a threshold to do it. If I have a lot of bones from the impling hunting, then maybe I can get up to 60. And that'll be, any levels will help there. But once I reach those stats of 80 attack, 85 strength, 80 defense, and then at least 56 prayer, I'll at least give God Wars a shot. But if it's not going well, I'm not going to waste my supplies on losing runs. So if it doesn't go well, I'll probably have to push the combat stats up 5 levels each, so 85 attack and defense and 90 strength, and then probably 60 prayer. But those are going to be the initial goals that I set on the account before trying to get to God Wars. And then I do have some passive grinds as well that I'll need to be working on in my spare time that will then just overall help the account. And that is the completion of the Death Plateau quest. So that's the first quest in the 4 quests I need to complete. And I didn't mention it in the previous clips, but just so anybody who's unaware, there is actually an access point from east of Relica, right north of the Fremennik Slayer dungeon, that you can use to get all the way over to God Wars. So I'll be using that path at first just to kind of give it a try. And then once I do finish Edgar's Ruse, I do actually get access to the Trollheim teleport at level 61 magic, which I can use. So that'll be my primary access point for God Wars. And that is the completion of Troll Stronghold. So that now unlocks the Edgar's Ruse quest, which is the prereq for Dream Mentor. So 2 more quests to go and then we can begin our Hunter grind. And that is the completion of the Edgar's Ruse quest. So that is the last quest needed to start Dream Mentor. Once I complete Dream Mentor, I can go ahead and use that Hunter Kit spell and get to the Hunter grind. As well as I just picked up level 42 Herblore as well, so we are 3 levels away from Super Attack and 13 levels away from Super Strength. I was not paying attention and I died, so let's go back and try again for a second time. Second time was a lot smoother than the first time. Ended up with more than half the inventory left of food, and that should be the last part of Dream Mentor. It took 2 tries to finish up that final boss, but there we go. That is the end of Dream Mentor, and that gives me access to the remainder of the Lunar Spellbook. I think I misspoke earlier saying that Super Glass Make was part of the spellbook that I get for the extra rewards, but you actually get Super Glass Make just by completing Lunar Diplomacy. So the only 2 spells I'll really be using mostly is going to be the Hunter Kit spell, obviously, and then the Plank Make spell as well. If I ever get high enough, I could also do a spellbook swap, but I don't really think my magic level will ever get that high. But anyways, that's going to give me 15,000 hit points and 10,000 magic experience, and then also a Dreamy Lamp that I can use on, I think, any combat skill except for attack and prayer. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and use it on range. So let me just go through this dialogue here. And I will go ahead and slap that on range. 15,000 range experience. We're about halfway to our next level. But anyways, that is the completion of Dream Mentor. I'll go ahead and swap my spellbook now, and then I will go ahead and do Hunter Kit spell. So if you haven't seen the Hunter Kit spell before, all you have to do is cast the spell. You get 70 experience, and then you get a small Hunter Kit in your inventory that when you open it up gives you all of the basic supplies needed for hunting. The first thing I'll need is the Noose Wand, because at level 1 Hunter, I can catch Polar Kebets, and then the next milestone after that will be level 11, where I can go ahead and catch birds as well. And then the very last grind that I'll have to do is under Pitfalls, and at level 55 I can do Saber-Tooth Kyats, And that's going to be 300 experience per catch, and that's going to be all the way up until 83 and then eventually 89 as well. So I'm going to cast this spell a couple more times just so I can get maybe 5 of each item, and then we can head over and start the hunter grind. And there we have it, the very first hunter level. So that is level 2 hunter. This is not very fun at this level, so hopefully I can push through to level 11 quick so I can just start catching some birds. And there we have it. That is level 11 hunter, and I can now catch cerulean twitches. So there's actually one flying here, so I think I can keep doing this same method and try and get this one because I can only lay one trap down as it is now. So I'll test out that method and see what the XP is like. And this will be level 20 hunter, so that means I can place 2 bird snares at once. I think I'll just stick to the same spot. There's just one bird spawn that comes through, and hopefully I can catch one after another. It's not very fast. I don't really like to do the kebits as well just because I do run out of run energy a lot, and a lot of times I'm running back to the bird snare to replace it. So I'm just going to stick here and stick it out until level 40. Picked up an XP lamp, and I'll throw that on Slayer, and that will be level 28 Slayer. I think it's 2 more levels and then I can get to Pyrofiends. And with this last check, this will be level 40 Hunter. So with level 40 Hunter, I can start using 3 traps now. I've just been AFKing really in this area a lot for 2 traps. This one bird that's flying around spawns right in this area, and then it will just eventually fly into your trap, spawn back, and then if you're lucky enough and fast enough, you can go ahead and get the second one down as well. But I'm going to probably move spots now just because I can lay 3 down. But we are closing in on level 50 here shortly. And when I say shortly, I mean we're roughly about 37% of the way there. So still quite a ways to go. And with this last check here, this will be level 50 Hunter. So at level 51 Hunter, I can do the Saber-Tooth Kebits for 200 experience each. And then at 55, I can do the Saber-Tooth Kyats for, I believe it's 300 experience each. So we're almost done with the birds, just one more level, and then we'll give the Kebits a shot. And with this last snare here, that's going to be level 51 Hunter. So that is the end of the birds for now. We'll move over to the Kebits, assuming that they're better XP per hour until level 55, and then I can do the Saber-Tooth Kyats. But that is quite the grind done. I need to go get geared up for doing the Kebits. I think I need an axe and a knife for the traps. But first, I'm going to go and accomplish something that I've been working on for almost 4 years. So with this tiara, this is actually going to be the last task I needed to complete the easy diaries for the Fremennik region. So the only one that was really holding me up was the hunting one, I think to catch one of the birds. So I finished that up, and I still never made a tiara from scratch in this area. So now I get to go and claim my Fremennik Easy Diary rewards. And I think I just need to talk to Thoradin. So the rewards for completing the Fremennik Easy Diaries is you get the Fremennik Sea Boots 1. It allows you to teleport to the Relica Market once per day. It's not very useful just because I do have other teleports here now. But if I were to ever get the elite tier done, that would allow me to get unlimited teleports, but that's not going to happen just because most of those tasks I would need to leave my area for. The other thing is I get an antique lamp that I will throw on Herblore. It's actually going to get me another level, so that is level 43 Herblore. And then the final thing that it does is I believe I can now use Pier the Seer as a deposit box. I think I was standing right next to him. Let me go ahead and make sure that works. So I think I can now use him as a deposit box. I could use this in episode 1 because I hadn't finished the quest, so he would always take everything in my inventory back to the bank. But now I can actually select what I don't need to use, so I no longer need the pickaxe or the tiara or the mold. And I think this inventory is what I will take over to the Kebits. So before I go back to the hunter grind, I'm actually going to go and enter Piro just to receive the magical butterfly net. I think it increases my rate of catching implings, and there are some impling spawns out in the hunter area, so I'm going to get that first, and then I can go back and start the hunter grind. That did not take very long to get the magic butterfly net. Once I hit level 58, I will go for the jar generator because you can actually generate butterfly jars, which the hunter kit spell does not give. And there's a lot of butterflies that fly around in the hunter area, so that will maximize my XP per hour if I'm allowed to catch a butterfly. So when I hit level 58, I'll come back here and finish that up. But for now, that is the magic butterfly net. And then I also have an essence impling, steam runes, and young impling for coal. So yeah, now I'm going to head over to the kebits and see what the XP likes per hour. So I just completed one level here at the kebits, so we're sitting at level 5200. Unfortunately, you can only set one trap at a time here. I did not know that, so I thought I could set up to 3 like with the 40 level requirement that other traps can be set at, but you can only set one. It is a lot more AFK, and my XP tracker is saying about 23,000 experience an hour, which is about 10,000 more than the birds were getting, so I'm just going to stick through here until level 55. And with this last check here, this will be level 58 Hunter. So with level 58 Hunter, I can now get Nature Implings, which will allow me to get the jar generator, which I can use to get the butterfly jar. So there's a lot of them just flying around here. So I think if I can do 2 traps here, set up this boulder trap as well, and then just kind of work in a circle, catch the butterflies as I go, I think I can really maximize my experience. Unfortunately, at my level right now, the saber-tooth coyotes are very tough to catch. The success rate, I would say, is less than 50%, so it's been a struggle. Once I run out of energy, I end up just going back to the kebits for a while until I restore the entire energy. So we'll go ahead and finish up these last logs here and then head over to Puro Puro. And that is level 60 Hunter. So the method I'm currently doing now is I'm catching this butterfly that spawns right here, and I think it already flew away. But so I'll catch the butterfly that spawns right there, and then I will also set just this deadfall trap here. And it's averaging, if I try as hard as I can and don't really take any like breaks, it should end up averaging about 50k experience an hour, which is a big improvement over what I was getting before I could catch the butterfly. So I'm going to keep up this method. I'll probably hit a stopping point around 65 and go catch some magpies and get some GP, but we'll keep moving till then. And that is level 65 Hunter, so that's going to unlock Magpie Impling. So I think I'll take a break now from this hunting grind and go do the Impling grind and try and get some alcohols and maybe buy some runes, and maybe I can run a DK strip afterwards. And there's the first magpie of the account, so let's see if we get anything good. A rune square shield, so that is a great alch. I don't think I need it because I do have access to the kite shield and the granite shield, so that should be an easy, I think it's like 22k, which this is now going to be my new best moneymaker going forward. I'm going to need a lot of money to buy runes for my magic grind. I just got my first dragon dagger from a magpie impling. I think that's my best training weapon until I get up to ninja implings and get the rune sim, and then at the dragon implings I get the dragon longsword, which I think will be my endgame best training weapon going forward until I get to God Wars. I must be doing this at peak time. There's like 3 or 4 people in each world. I don't know if that's just the norm for now for Puro Puro, but there's so much competition that I'm not really getting that many magpies, so I think I'll take my 64k. Probably buy some death runes, and then I'm going to probably go and try a Rex trip. First Rex kill after about 18 months away from DKs, and we get 100 coal. That's actually a pretty good drop to have, just because I do need to work on my smithing grind at some point as well. And this will be the last kill of the trip. I'm running out of anti-poison, and I only have enough runes maybe for 1 more, so I'll just stop here at a 9 kill trip. Not too bad. I'll just make sure that I bring an extra anti-poison and probably some more death runes, or I can try and get my herbler up to level 48 for the super anti-poisons, and then I really only need to bring maybe 1 or 2. So I think with that last DK trip, that'll be a good stopping point for this episode. So in this episode, we went from level 1 to 65 Hunter after completing the 4 quests needed to unlock the Hunter Kit spell. We're sitting at 1,345 total level, and we're now up to catching magpies. So I'm going to set the goal for the next episode to get up to level 83 Hunter for the Dragon Implings, and then we will go for all of our gear upgrades that we mentioned earlier. But anyways, thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.